A warm welcome from my side. Let me guide you through a very healthy Q3 2023. We had a strong improvement in profitability quarter on quarter. The EBITDA rose by more than 74%, and the net income increased by more than 250%. We had a solid revenue growth of 14.4% and a strong order intake also in Q3, with a stable book-to-bill ratio of 1.19, resulting in a backlog of 1.7 billion at the end of the third quarter. We now have 292 million of liquidity, with an additional 59 million of payables yet to be paid by VINCI in the conclusion of the focus transaction, which is expected in the largest part by the end of this year. Against that backdrop, we've decided to raise our net income guidance from previously more than 66 million to now more than 72 million of net income. We had 3 M&A transactions in progress in Q3, Hartmann, Ultimate, and B-Square, which are meant to strengthen the software and solutions segment. We expect all those transactions to be closed and finalized by the end of the fourth quarter of this year. By the end of the third quarter, we have also initiated a share buyback program 2 for 2023, with an aim of acquiring up to 4 million shares, or 6.26% of the current share capital, with a maximum amount of 70 million euros. Let's have a brief look at the main KPIs for Q3. Revenues rose to 300 million, EBITDA rose by 74% to 35 million, and net operating income increased by 275% to 18.9 million, or 30 cents a share in the third quarter alone. The gross margin jumped by 30% to 118 million, and the order entry resulted in a book-to-bill ratio of 1.19, with billed revenues of 300 versus order entry of 356 million. The operating cash flow increased a lot by 20.7 million, from 6.1 million to 26.8 million in the third quarter alone. Looking at the KPIs for the first 9 months of this year, the revenues jumped by 14% to 861 million, and the EBITDA rose by 40% to 96 million, while the operating net income jumped by 118% to 53 million, which represents 83 cents a share for the first 3 quarters alone. The gross margin increased by 25% to 341 million, and the order entry versus revenues resulted in a book-to-bill ratio of 1.23, comparing 360.9 million versus an order entry of more than 1 billion. The operating cash flow increased by a staggering 99 million, from minus 64.9 million last year to now positive 34.1 million this year. Looking at the cash flow, if you look back to 2021, you would see that the overall cash flow for the entire year was at the end at 65 million, while the operating cash flow last year was 59 million. Against the backdrop of the current development, we expect a positive operating cash flow of 100 million for the full year 2023, adjusted for the reduced factoring. Looking at the balance sheet, you can see that we increased our equity ratio again, already healthy 44.1% to 46.2% after the end of the third quarter. We still have net cash of 73 million, despite the dividend payout of 63 million in the first half of this year. And we had working capital of around 189 million at the end of the third quarter, which is up from the 114 million at the end of last year, but still significantly down from the same time last year, where the working capital stood at 211 million. We have a very strong cash position of 292 million, with another 59 million of open payments from the focus transaction, where the largest chunk of that we expect to receive by the end of this year. Looking at the backlog and design wins this year, you can see that we've increased the backlog by 200 million, and we also managed to increase the design win pipeline by 200 million to now 3.6 billion euros. The top design wins derive from railway, avionics, medical, telecommunication, defense, and industrial. Looking into our M&A strategy, we have the aim of replacing our sold IT segment revenues by strategic IoT acquisitions. We have so far succeeded in signing the acquisition of 5 companies, which will replace around 40% of the revenues sold together with the Focus transaction. Target is to find companies with high synergies with Kontron and an EBITDA of 12% within 2 years, which are complementary in their IoT technology offering to improve our portfolio. All transactions are to be financed with existing cash and from cash flow from Kontron, not with shares. Looking at the 5 transactions, we have carved out the automotive part of Telit. They are offering 5G modules for data connection of IoT. We have bought Comlab, offering data repeaters for the trains business and communication for trains. We have bought Hartmann, offering VPX systems for the defense market. We've signed Ultimate for public transport solutions, and B Square tender offer is still outstanding for this small Nasdaq company offering software solutions for IoT connections. We have another 3 acquisition projects in our pipeline for 2024. If we look at the guidance we gave at the beginning of the year, we had a net profit guidance of more than 60 million, which we increased to 66 million after Q1. And we have decided now to increase our guidance again to over 72 million of net profit, while the EBITDA margin is likely to rise above 11%. We maintain our midterm guidance for 2025 of 2 billion of revenues at an EBITDA margin of 13% and a net profit of 140 million. What did we achieve in the first 3 quarters? We had a very strong order intake of 356 million, resulting in a book-to-bill of 1.19. We had a significant improvement of net income of 18.9 million quarter on quarter from 5.4 million, and we have signed 3 M&A transactions. It's our target to get to a net income of more than 72 million, that is more than €1 a share for the first time in Kontron's history, and achieve revenues of around 1.2 billion. Our midterm target is to achieve revenues of 2 billion and a net income of 140 million by 2025. Further M&A transactions are planned for 2024. We see economic risks. We see a political instability current in several markets. So the internal risks outweighing the internal risk we currently see as risk for our existing business. Looking at the opportunity side, we have sufficient cash for acquisitions, and we're one of only a few European technology players offering 5G connectivity solutions for machines, artificial intelligence applications. Should you have any question, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at ir@kontron.com. I look forward to talking to you. Have a great day. Bye.